We know that humans are not equal regarding diseases or cure, but how different are we? Part of the answer is to be found in our genome. Gene repetitions and alterations, allelic variations in gene expression can be statistically associated with certain diseases and the way patients respond to treatment. To study correlations between illness condition, human genomic, epigenomic or proteomic differences, and also pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic response to drugs, we have no choice but to handle tons of data. That's exactly what the CNAG in Barcelona Scientific Park is designed for.
Biology, medicine is turning into computer science. In our omics experiments, we generate huge amounts of data, and the future of understanding biology and medicine really lies in how do we extract the biological knowledge, the medical knowledge out of all of this data. That is the future.
Personalized medicine relies on our knowledge management capacity and also on our data processing power. A single DNA sequencer can now generate in a day what it took 10 years to collect for the Human Genome Project. With a sequencing capacity of 600 gigabases a day, the CNAG requires an 850-core cluster supercomputer with 1.2 petabyte of disk space to process the data. And a lot more is to come. With the omics platforms, we can anticipate a better molecular definition of health and ill health in the future. Now that we're able to identify, qualify and validate neoplastic cells biomarkers that could be targeted with more specific drugs, we can also characterize groups of patients to predict their reaction to therapy. Besides cancer applications, the personalized medicine approach also applies to diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, neurodegenerative diseases, infection or analgesia. In Stockholm, researchers even carried out to understand antidepressants' metabolism.
What we have found is two different classes of variation in the genome, which causes non-responsiveness to antidepressant therapy.
Such findings open new prospects to statistic bounds linking diseases, drugs and groups of patients. Jeanette is in a group by herself. She suffers from back and leg pain now for 7 years, and no painkiller could help her. On the contrary,
I had huge problems with side effects, and no doctor believed my problems. Then I contacted Mr. Ingemann Sundberg, and he discovered that I had 13 alleles on a gene.
Jeanette is so unique that she needs a unique treatment, which is precisely the promise of personalized medicine. A model based on molecular profiling technologies for tailoring the right therapeutic strategy for the right person at the right time. Another field where the need for personalized medicine is obvious is the one of rare diseases. The University Hospital Motol in Prague has a long experience in this field.
There are two main messages which we need to learn from rare diseases. First, there's much more research needed to find the pathogenesis of common diseases. And secondly, we have to really be very humble with the interpretation of results regarding their translational potential.
The personalized therapeutic approach already saves lives. Eva lives in Zwolle, a village near Prague. She was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma several years ago. A quite severe case with a very large tumor under the sternum and no possibility of surgery.
They analyzed the DNA of my tumor and discovered I needed a special cocktail of drugs to dissolve it. The treatment lasted 9 months and it worked. The tumor completely disappeared.
Such success stories should be a standard. Yet we are still at the early days of personalized medicine. Of course, it's important to have a clear regulatory framework allowing for the rapid uptake of innovations into medical applications, but without compromising the safety of patients. New drugs and therapies must go through clinical assays before they are launched on the market. But when it comes to personalized medicine, testing in humans becomes more complicated. One problem is the size of the population samples needed for clinical assays. The one patient, one therapy paradigm does not fit testing within large samples. Retrospective studies can be a first step to fill this data gap. Retrospective studies, however, lack sufficient guarantees regarding the standardization of data collection. A good example of this is when dealing with biomarkers identified on neoplastic cells.
We don't even know whether one biopsy of a large tumour is representative of the tumour as a whole. We need to know the answer to that question before we can start identifying biomarkers that are predictive of response or resistance or clinical outcome that are representative of the tumour as a whole.
There is undoubtedly a crucial need for guidance to set up new protocols for clinical assays and clinical research. At the European level, more collaborative work involving several research centers and laboratories is necessary to gather sufficient data and relevant expertise. And at the next step, close collaboration between academia and the private sector will be necessary for the rapid translation of innovative ideas into medical applications. Also, collaboration between different sectors of industry will be increasingly important. In this emerging landscape, intellectual property rights issues and the ease of use in the clinical setting should also be properly anticipated, especially if drugs and diagnostics are linked. But are we advanced enough to initiate a market shift or even a market evolution towards personalized medicine? For instance, what about the availability of test and treatment for an entire population? Bernard is a patient with a squamous cell carcinoma. As soon as this was discovered, genetic tests were performed on his tumor cells.
Sur le plan médical, on l'a personnalisé parce que quand on a découvert cette maladie, il y a eu des explorations qui ont été faites pour bien cibler le traitement à apporter.
Bernard benefits from a program launched in 2006 by the French National Cancer Institute to use molecular genetic testing for targeted therapy.
We want to provide to all the patients in the territory an access to personalized medicine, to the best care and to the new drugs.
28 platforms cover the whole territory, linking together several laboratories. They guarantee equal and free access to 8 tests used for 7 cancers, with 100,000 tests performed per year.
This also gives us an opportunity to follow up all the medical and economics of this strategy.
And the economics look good, since expensive treatment can be avoided when irrelevant, thanks to tests that cost less. Still, this is an impressive but limited example. The uptake of personalized medicine into clinical practice is already happening. However, practitioners need to understand and access the right test at the right time, then correctly interpret the test result to adapt their prescription. Well-informed and trained practitioners are essential to make personalized medicine accessible for all. But another challenge for clinical practice is to take into account the patient's information, their understanding, needs, views and preferences.
J'avais exprimé mes souhaits vis-à-vis du médecin et c'est très net, il en a tenu compte. Donc j'ai eu la qualité de vie que je pouvais souhaiter avec la liberté et du travail que je tenais à continuer et des loisirs qui étaient quelquefois très prenants. Mais ça a toujours été respecté.
Professor Cassiman from Belgium is now retired, but very active with patients' associations.
And also, very importantly, we have to make sure that health of people is not the main reason why they want to live, but that well-being also is there. And we should start thinking of this equilibrium between both today and not in the future.
The different perspectives in personalized medicine raise questions in many domains. The processing of data, their translation into medical applications, the level of personalization we can reach, and the need for European collaboration. Past experience may help design the future and answer the questions: how to stimulate innovation and translate it to market reality, how to ensure the economic viability of the personalized medicine model for other diseases, and above all, how can we offer both health and comfort for patients?